For today's sail, I am sailing under a double-reefed mainsail only on a very windy day in mid-August. And so the forecast had called for winds like 8 to 10 miles an hour with gusts to 15, but it turned out to be more like winds 10 to 15 with gusts into the 20s. And so I should have known because I did notice that the temperatures that were forecast were a little bit lower than what you would typically see in August, which is why I'm wearing a jacket. And so I knew something was up. But yeah, so I got to the marina about a little after 8 in the morning and kind of took my time in the slip and was trying to watch what the wind was going to do, but it just never changed. It blew solid gusts in the 20s pretty much all day, which is unusual at this lake. Usually there's a lot of variability. You get lulls in the middle of the day, and then it starts building in the afternoon. But so anyway, so I decided to go out, and so I am sailing to the north end of the lake under my double-reefed main. And you can see what I'm trying to do here is I'm basically trying to keep the wind to my port quarter. And that's because you can see, if you look at that little red telltale on my shroud, you can see that the winds are really like shifting a lot. So 1 minute I'm on a beam reach, and then the next minute the wind is dead astern. And so what I'm trying to do is keep the wind from getting behind the mainsail and then causing an accidental jibe. So when the wind shifts to the beam, I basically just start sailing on a beam reach instead of trying to keep to that same point of sail broad reaching, because if I do that and then the wind shifts back, then it'll get behind that mainsail. So a little tricky, but definitely don't want to be on a dead run, because if the wind shifts, then I very easily will do an accidental jibe. So I decided to go ahead and jibe. I pull in the mainsail. On this boat, because it's lightweight, you have to shift your weight to the new windward side, so I do that, and then very carefully steer the stern through the wind, and then as soon as the main shifts over, let go of that main sheet and let the sail out. And so now I'm on a starboard tack, again trying to broad reach, keeping that wind on my starboard quarter. And so the boat, moving really well. Pretty much throughout this downwind leg, I was doing high 4, maybe 5 knots. At one point, I was at, I think, 5.4 knots going downwind, which was the highest downwind speed that I did on this day. And so, yeah, so I just, now on my new tack, just keep heading down the lake. And you can see the waves building and some of the whitecaps and some really funky clouds that are just sitting there behind the mountains, but pretty much blue skies other than those few clouds that are just sitting behind the mountains. So again, the boat's moving really well, and surprising, I guess, double reefed, mainsail only, that the boat is this fast, but it's a light boat, and having it double reefed just makes it a lot more manageable. And in these kinds of conditions, flying mainsail only keeps the boat a lot flatter. And it's also just a lot easier because you're only dealing with one sheet. You don't have to worry about the jib sheets at all. So tacking and jibing are both a lot easier. Granted, when you tack, you have to really watch your boat speed, because if you don't have enough speed, you won't be able to finish your tack. You'll stall out. But going downwind, easy peasy with a double reefed mainsail. So yeah, I'm just again heading downwind. I don't go to the north end of the lake very often because it's a little shallow, and so there's a lot of Eurasian milfoil. You can see a clump going by right there. So in the shallow areas, it reaches up from the bottom, and so you can get it fouled on your centerboard or on your rudder or on your propeller. And so, yeah, I just don't go to the center of the lake very often, but in these conditions and just trying to get the feel for it, and honestly, I was hoping it was going to pass and lighten up a little bit. So I was like, oh, I'll just run with it for a little while and then see what happens. And like I said, it just stayed this way all day. So eventually I turn around and make my way back up the lake. But I'll leave that for next week. Alright, well, as always, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.